Greetings, friends. In this week's Parsha, we meet Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, the greatest individual and the greatest prophet in history. Never again has there arisen in Israel a prophet like Moshe, whom Hashem had known face to face. Moshe was also considered the king of Israel. As Hashem said, I have appointed you king over Israel. That's a midrash. But this merit was not passed down in his case through his children as it was with King David. It says in another midrash, Moshe sat like a king on his throne, and everyone stood before him. I believe it is appropriate at this time to discuss the nature of the Jewish king. We have to understand what to expect when Mashiach arrives. I'm going to use as a source the words of the great luminary Rabbi Shamshon Ophel Hirsch, Zatzal, who was in his own way a melech, a king of Torah. He fought fearlessly and relentlessly against the surging tide of reform, the so-called Enlightenment, which was really nothing but darkness. This poisonous movement, which still hisses in our ears, attempts to extinguish the light of Torah in the world. Rabbi Hirsch was not afraid to fight it single-handedly. To do this, he had to clarify countless basic concepts in Torah, and the nature of the Jewish king was one of the concepts which he elucidated in his writings. In the previous Parsha, Yaakov Avinu, last of the patriarchs, gives brachas, blessings to his sons before his death. From each of Yaakov's principal wives came a king. Yosef came from Rachel, and Yehuda came from Leah. Yehuda is the progenitor of David HaMelech, from whom the eternal line of Jewish kings descends, and it is the character of this Melech Yisrael that Rabbi Hirsch delineates in his commentary on Parshas Vayechi, which we read last week. First, I'd like to discuss a subject which has long confused me. Why did Shmuel Hanavi, Samuel the prophet, chastise Am Yisrael, the Jewish people, for wanting a king, when in fact there is a commandment for us to have a king? Rabbi Hirsch explains that Shmuel Hanavi chastised Am Yisrael because in that generation they wanted a king out of fear, a king who would lead them in battle like the kings of the other nations. But that is not the function of the Jewish king. He is not like the king of other nations. The Jewish king, Mashiach, comes riding on a donkey, not a horse. A donkey, Rabbi Hirsch explains, is an animal associated with peace, whereas a horse is used in battle. As King David himself writes, quote, the other nations trust in horses, but we, the Jewish people, trust in the name of Hashem, our God. Whereas other kings keep the royal stables full of horses, the Jewish king raises donkeys, animals used especially during peacetime. When Yaakov blesses Yehuda, he envisions the future Mashiach tying his donkey to a grapevine. What does the grapevine represent? Quote, this is Hirsch again, Rabbi Hirsch again, the garment of Mashiach is red, but not with the blood of man. Rather, the blood of grapes has colored his robe. Rabbi Hirsch explains that Mashiach is not coming to save us militarily, but rather to teach us Torah and proper behavior. What is the task of the Jewish king? Quote, again, Rabbi Hirsch, he is to be the Jew par excellence. By embodying this idea, he will be leading the Jewish nation to the constant awareness and faithful keeping of the Torah, neither in order to conquer the land, nor to secure it, but, quote, when you have come to the land which the Lord your God gives you, and you shall possess it, and shall dwell in it without a king, Then you shall appoint a king. Rabbi Hirsch foresees the way Mashiach will arrive. Quote, in the end of days, when the children of Israel will appear to be extremely weak and apparently unable to survive, and the entire world will be in a state of decline, he will suddenly arise in manly strength. In the days of Mashiach, men will not waste their strength in subjugating and destroying their fellow men. Yaakov Avinu envisions the members of this final generation. Their eyes are more sparkling than wine, and their teeth are whiter than milk. Courage and the joy of life shine from their eyes, and the whiteness of their teeth testifies to their health. My friends, this is what we can expect of Mashiach ben David, the teacher of Israel, in the days when the world is healed and has returned to a state of perfection. May we soon see that day with our own eyes and glory in the appearance of Mashiach ben David, the King of Israel and the leader of the entire world. Good Shabbos.